for that keynote presentation, we have Lasse ROUHIAINEN. I may say that he's Finnish, but actually he's more Alicantinian than myself. Well, the presentation is in English, but he could do it in Spanish and I don't know, even Valencian probably. Lasse is an author of several books in the field of technology in general, but in particular in artificial intelligence. I highly recommend them. They are in Spanish or in English. And I highly recommend it because he has the ability to explain things in a very simple way so that they are very accessible. You know how difficult and how complex it can be, AI, blockchain, and all these technologies. And I have learned a lot thanks to Lasse. And at the same time, he's also an international speaker, just quite known, so well known that it's difficult to find a spot in order to have him in Alicante. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the keynote that will open this second day. And Lasse, thanks a lot for being with us. And here we go.
Thank you. Thank you, Aurelio. Let's give a hand for Aurelio. And we'll change my presentation. Hopefully everybody's doing good. So we'll talk about the future of AI and the Metaverse. So Aurelio gave me this topic of future of the Metaverse, which is quite big, right? But I only have 25 minutes because I'm from Finland and I want to respect everybody's time. After this you have interesting panel. So I will basically give you 4 different reflections and then looking forward for any questions and comments you might have. Let's get the clipper. Thank you. So again, thanks for Aurelio and Manuel and everybody for organizing this. I'm kind of like half Alicantino, so it's really nice to be talking in your home. And let's get straight into it. I'm from Finland. This is my name. You can add me on LinkedIn. It would be nice to be in contact. And I actually started to learn a little bit about Metaverse 2016, even though that word didn't exist back then. And I released and created this book you can see on the right-hand side. That was about how these exponential technologies will impact the education, because I also give courses in the university in Finland. And out of these technologies, my favorite one obviously started to become AI, and that's why I released this second book you can see over there. And right now actually I have to run after this presentation because we are launching the next book, which is about ChatGPT, and it should happen this weekend. But Tim O'Reilly says that first the technological change happens gradually and then suddenly. When we think about the Metaverse, in which of these we are right now? Do you think it has already happened, or is it happening little by little? Little by little, yes. I also think the same. And really, some point it will happen all of a sudden, so we have to be ready for that. And how it will happen, what will be kind of like the base layer technology for the Metaverse, I think it will be AI. So I do recommend to learn as much about AI if you are doing research on the Metaverse, because it will impact basically everything we do, okay? And that impact will be sometimes positive, sometimes negative. So these 2 technologies, this morning, this image was done by DALL-E, by AI. It's not the perfect one, but there on the left-hand side, there's a guy doing prompting, and on the right-hand side, there's something related to the Metaverse. But prompting and writing prompts to tools like ChatGPT will be important for the Metaverse and building the Metaverse. Why? Because with generative AI, we can almost create everything in the future. Right now, most of you are creating text. You might have created, how many of you have created images using ChatGPT or any other tools? Good. And you can also create videos and code, but soon you can create 3D content. That means metaverse content, okay? Images are two-dimensional, but in the future, well, there's already some tools that allow this, okay? And you will be using prompting. You will be typing something and the machine will give you 3D content. And that's why AI will be such an important technology for all of you, and also when you are researching it, it will be interesting. What is happening with AI? Well, basically, I just wanted to share this image because it was interesting. In one image, you can see all the big players, basically. But the problem right now with AI is that it's not happening in the universities. It's not happening like in a state level or even researchers. It's basically happening between those guys that you can see on this image. And most of those guys are the leaders of the big technology companies like Microsoft, Google, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and so on. And they are basically competing who is the first one. So basically we'll first go money first and people second. This was the big problem with social networks. It happens the same. And now we have a lot of people, a lot of young people with depression and a lot of problems with social networking. And we cannot make the same mistake with the metaverse, okay? But basically, whatever we will do with metaverse, it kind of like depends what kind of tools these people will create, okay? Why? Because that's where all the money and development will be going. And one thing I wanted to share about AI and the metaverse, we have to think about what sectors will be first applying AI and the metaverse. So in this analysis, you will see this from Future Today Institute. I highly recommend to follow them. Every year you can download the report. And basically they analyze 20 biggest sectors in the world, and they analyze what's the impact, how fast certain technology like VR will be implemented in these sectors. With AI, everything is basically blue, okay? So what does this mean? Is that it's being implemented in every sector. Now, this is common knowledge, we probably know this, but the big question for you is, in which of these sectors will the metaverse be implemented the first? Any guess? Or you can say which out of these, which are some that will be first and which are some that will be last, because this is a quick question. Some of them will be taking many years that metaverse will not be applied, and some of them are already being applied. Any guess?
Media
Paul?
entertainment.
Sorry?
Media entertainment.
Wow. You have read the report? Or you have seen my presentation? How is that possible? Yeah, that was perfect, because that's number one. Any other guess? Media, number one. And then, for example, education is also out there. So basically, you can see them in colors. The more blue, the first it is, like public, social sectors, real estate, supply chain, telecommunication, government, construction, and then media, like Paul did. And when you have it, when you see it more and more red, that means it will take time, okay? And this is really important that we understand this difference, because there's a huge difference between years when it comes to when will metaverse be applied in this sector. So I have listed here the first 3 groups. I recommend to do research on those groups. Those will be the first ones. And we need a lot of quick research, and governments and institutions should be thinking both positive things and the negative things. There's a lot of negative things coming, because remember, those 5 guys, they're mostly thinking about money, okay? And they are thinking about building these tools, and we are the ones who need to think about the impact for people. So, one of my, this was the first reflection. It will first impact in certain industries and others not. Second reflection is, I think it will impact on the industrial metaverse. So industrial metaverse is being built, it's happening, whereas consumer metaverse takes time, okay? And here are some statistics to prove that. You can see how the industrial metaverse is growing in an amazing way. And then we also can see that when it will really pick up is more or less when we have 6G. So now we have 5G, but 6G will more or less happen in 28 or 30, so basically 6 years from now. and that will be amazing for the metaverse. And also we need better and more cheaper goggles and more interoperability between things. But let's see how this industrial metaverse, and basically this means digital twins and simulations. This is amazing. If you make a new factory, it's amazing. You can create it on the metaverse and you can make different analysis of how to make cost savings and many other things. Obviously, here also you will use AI as a technology. But MIT made this estimation that it will be more or less 100 billion, okay, in the next few years. And also you can see how it will start growing in the next few years. Now, this is industrial metaverse. If we compare it to enterprise metaverse, the amount that you will see here is 20 billion, okay? Industrial metaverse, 100 billion. Enterprise metaverse, what is this? Well, big companies collaborating, having meetings on the metaverse rather than in a normal Zoom or Teams. And a lot of you, I don't know if you have already tested, but it's kind of like, it's okay, there's a lot of benefits, but it's also a bit boring. It's not really working perfectly to have meetings. Nowadays, many people just have a meeting on Zoom or Teams in 2D rather than 3D, and it's better. But this will also grow, so this is one element of the metaverse. And then when everything that's in the media has to do with this consumer metaverse, okay? So here, as you can see, this starts to grow when we get closer to 2030, okay? Why? Because we have better connections, we have cheaper equipment, and many other reasons. But it will still be quite flat, not growing as much as the industrial metaverse. And the amount here is 50 billion, whereas in the industrial metaverse it was 100 billion. So we talk about double impact with the industrial metaverse. So that was my second reflection. The third was two things that you need to understand with the growth of AI. It will be amazing, and I recommend to be part of it, because you don't have to be a coder, you just have to use prompting and different tools. And what will happen in the next few months and years is two things will be basically changing. And what are those? Number one is context window. Right now, how many of you have used ChatGPT? Raise your hand. Good. So did you know what is a context window in ChatGPT? Basically, that's the memory, okay? How much is that memory? Paul, you cannot answer because you have seen my presentation. No, just kidding. In ChatGPT, the context window right now, in this moment, is 90,000 words, okay? And many of us use ChatGPT for translating it or doing things like, hey, this is a text in German, put it in perfect Spanish or whatever. So you maybe use like 100 words. When you get better results is when you use this context window. It's basically your input plus output, okay? So my recommendation is start using ChatGPT not for simple daily things like translate this or improve this email, but start using it as your research assistant, okay? Or your personal assistant. One of my friends is learning French using ChatGPT because there's a 90,000 word context window that remembers how much this person knows and can personalize the education based on that. Same goes with you. You just give it a lot of input. You can upload research papers or whatever and say, read this and remember it. And then you come back and so on. So you have this kind of assistant, okay? So that's context window. Basically, it's the amount of text that the model can handle. Now it's more or less 90,000 words, but in a few months or 1 year, it will be 1 million words, okay? So what's the difference between 90,000 and 1 million? When it's 1 million, we can put a lot of things there and we can do more complex things, like innovate new, create new medicine, create new materials, or create new things related to the metaverse, for example, okay? So basically, it said that most scientific research and discoveries will happen thanks to these kind of tools because they will have such amazing memory. You can show how 10 different medicines were created and say, hey, now create the same but for these type of people. So that's context window. Number two is AI agents. Anyone of you have heard about AI agents? Okay, Paul, again, I will say that you cannot answer. AI agents basically are kind of like ChatGPT, but in ChatGPT you have to do a lot of manual things, right? You have to say many, many things. With AI agents, you gave them one thing, okay? You give them one objective and you put them on work and you go and take coffee, okay? Why is this? Because they can handle better things and they can do something called auto-prompting, okay? So they create a bigger objective and based on that objective, they give prompts to themselves. So if you go to Google and you see what kind of trend is going on, if you search this keyword AI agents, you can see that it's growing quite a lot. And normally when there's something happening, it's good to be like a pioneer and it's good to be one of the first ones. I will give you a free tool in a moment. And it's kind of like a next thing that nobody is really talking about, but I highly recommend to be there. So let me show you how basically this works. Let's say you want to create a research paper right now. You go to ChatGPT, you write something. Paul will put topic. Write a research paper on the future of the metaverse, and then you wait, and how the first version, how it will be. Will it be perfect or more or less? Will it be more or less, right? And not really good. So we basically give just one prompt and we wait that it's perfect. And this obviously doesn't work when we do something that complicated as a research. So here is a difference. Basic AI tool like ChatGPT, and here on the right, there's AI agent. So AI agent, you will give the same thing to AI agent, and what does the AI agent do? First, it will analyze the topic, okay? And then it will say, well, maybe I will do a web research, and then number 3 is maybe I will write the first version of this research article, but after that I will start analyzing it and then I will revise it and so on. So it's doing this kind of thinking, researching, revising process in the same way as a human researcher would do, okay? And this is from Andrew Ning. Again, you can learn more from him. Just a few months ago he started to talk about this and it's kind of like #1 thing now with the AI community in the world is to learn how these agents work. Right now, we are in the stage 0.5, meaning the tools are not perfect. There are some tools, but let's say that the next version of ChatGPT, which is number 5, it's estimated at the end of this year, it will have tools and things that will help you to use it as an AI agent, where you give them bigger goals and you go and take coffee, or you put another agent to work on something else. So this will be a huge revolution. It will allow us to, for example, companies to have better efficiency, improved safety, because many times you can even install these in your own intranet. You can also do more complex tasks and you can do more scalable things. So I also want to leave time for questions and respect the time for the next panel. But basically how these agents work is rather than ChatGPT, which is dependent on you, okay, they can communicate with different APIs. So you can connect them, or they are already connected to different research archives or different systems. And they can also connect and communicate with other other AI agents, which is quite interesting. So in the future, most of you will not have only one agent, you will have several agents working for you, and obviously this will be a huge opportunity for many. Here, maybe you don't see it, but basically it's not that important, but basically I just want to show that in the US there are already websites that are hiring these AI agents, renting. Meaning you don't have to build them yourself. There are companies that have built AI agents already for certain operative functions. Here we can see one for financial analysis, one for translation, one for project management, and so on and so forth. And this company is selling them for 50 euros or $50 a month. And this is another great thing that will happen. So basically, rather than building your own or whatever, there will be a rental market where you will be paying a monthly fee. Like now you are paying a fee for ChatGPT, which is generative or generic. Here you will use one of them. So, here. So this is one tool, you can write it down and you can test it in your home. You just have to sign up, it's totally free. And basically it will allow you to see how these AI agents work. And it's not perfect yet, okay? So basically you can go there and use it for something specific. You can say, hey, my friends will get married in 2 months in Madrid. And that's like they have to organize, or this thing have to organize everything. So it will start thinking, then it will start auto-prompting, then it will create one task, another task, another task. Or you can say, hey, I have to organize a big scientific congress on about the Metaverse in Berlin. And this will give you the roadmap and so on. It's totally free. Again, it's not perfect, but it's one of the tools that will show you how these things will work. And as I said in the beginning, there will be many, many challenges. AI will bring a lot of great things, and also the Metaverse. However, we need legislation. Why do we need legislation? Because everything basically is still happening money first and people second. And that's why in the Europe, we have these AI risk levels that European Union has already created. And I understand it will take some time, maybe 1 year, for them to be effective. But I would recommend these same things for the Metaverse, okay? So basically, if you create, and you are in some, I don't say names, but let's say country which is different, and you create an AI tool or Metaverse tool, it's good that the European Commission will analyze if that tool has unacceptable risk, for example, for young people, and somehow eliminate it, okay? Because the problem is that we have seen all the problems that has happened with social media, and the same kind of like have happened with AI, and they are coming now. One of the big things will be AI girlfriends, AI boyfriends. It's one of the biggest trends right now in the US. So when it comes to, or it's already happening in Europe, but hopefully European authorities will be eliminating and knowing how to protect people a bit more. So anyhow, my final thing is that we need this kind of analysis, and we need to be proactive to see these risks and challenges beforehand. So basically that was everything I wanted to share. The last thing I want to say that right now you are using AI tools writing. I recommend that as soon as you can start using them talking, okay? So first we write, then we talk, and you can already see like the Ray-Ban classes that Meta has. You can talk to them, they will take photos, and that's kind of like the first version of the Metaverse. Who knows what happens? First we write, then we speak. What's the next level after that? Again, Paul, you cannot answer because I know that you have studied by material. So after that is gestures, okay? So basically, rather than you looking at the virtual reality headset, they are looking at you all the time, okay? In Finland, one of the leading VR company, guess what is the new product? So they are doing industrial VR headsets that cost like $10,000 because they are amazing. Now they are doing VR screen for cars. So basically the car windows that you have in cars, that will be a Metaverse window, okay, that can see everything that is happening, and they already have a demo for this, and they have already talked with car manufacturers and so on and so forth. Good thing is that it's analyzing what's happening in the traffic. The bad thing is that it's analyzing also you, and it's seeing if you are angry, if you're sad, if your boyfriend have left you, or something has happened in your life, which is not good. Okay, we have to think about the privacy. So those were the main reflections I had, and now I look forward for your questions. Thank you. We have the microphone. Yes?
We have that one. We have to share it.
Okay.
Am I allowed to ask a question? Oh, thank you. Lasse, thank you very much for this presentation. Excellent presentation. One comment and one question from my side. Yes, it is really true that the world now is moving in this direction of autonomous agents, of multi-agents conversation. In February this year, ChatGPT team organized the first conference for developers, and they announced there publicly exactly that they are going in this direction. So this is a major move. The question, I mean, there are potentially many risks associated with it, right? Like agents, autonomous agents poisoning other agents, and basically creating a gigantic mess, not only on the web, but in general. What kind of risks do you see yourself, like and ways to mitigate it? You've mentioned one, right? That we should apply. For instance, the AI regulation to Metaverse, but even this regulation does not deal with multi-agent scenarios, right? Generative AI was added only at the very last stage of drafting AI legislation, so it looks like we are already a bit outdated. Like, what would you recommend? Or what kind of risks do you see in that regard? Thanks.
Well, it's exactly like you said, and one thing we need to be where there's always like human first and these AI agents second, okay? So there's like a human team that can unplug these agents, okay? Because in the moment we cannot do that, then they can do whatever. So that would be the most important thing, that there's a human supervision that is helping us, giving them things to do, because they will be amazing in field of healthcare, education, in many things. But they can also create like new virus, they can create maybe a lot of fake news and many things. So there should be human supervision. And also, this should be taken more seriously, in the governmental level and legislative level and so on and so forth. And also the interesting thing is, there's this conversation between open and closed. Open AI, even its name open, their software is closed, okay? And nobody knows how it works. But it's also really good, because if it would be open, it's really powerful. People would create their own versions of it that modified for their own benefits. For example, that could be distributing fake news and so on and so forth. So in the future, already now, if you go to GitHub, there are AI agents that you can like download, and software that you can download and use, which is good. But then again, it's not good when they can do many things. So yeah, we have to. The main thing is to see this and be proactive with it. Until now, we have always been reactive. It's kind of like, let's let the companies do whatever, and then we fix the problems. And that's not a good strategy.
Are there any more questions?
Thank you very much for the fascinating talk. Maybe it just slipped my eye, but I would like to ask, what about military? Because I didn't see in the list. And how do you see, or what's your information about it, how they use such AI agents? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a bit sad that we have to talk about it, but yeah, it's like number one. So basically it's OpenAI is collaborating with US military, and Microsoft is collaborating and so on. So it's a big, I think in the US it's the second biggest spending of their budget goes to military, so of course. And for example, in my country, in Finland, they should wake up, and obviously, with AI they could be doing so many things for kind of like protecting and so on. They are still thinking like the old way, let's build a new ship or something that takes 10 years, and when 10 years comes, it's totally obsolete. And unfortunately, the future will be that you will have drones fighting drones, okay? And those drones will win that are better, that has better algorithms. That's why Finland should be now build drone factories all day long and forget all the other things that will be obsolete in the future.
Anyone else want to ask something?
Well, apologies first because I could not be present at your talk, but I'm going to do a follow-up question on the previous one. So regarding the use of AI agents in the military, some people say that this will not be a good idea because they don't have moral values where humans have, and in some decisions you do need these moral values. But on the other hand, then playing a little bit the devil's lawyer, some humans, as these latest wars show, do not have moral values, and probably the machines will make better decisions. What is your position on that?
Well, again, I would say we have to prepare for the worst. So I would not expect humans to have good values. Like you said, they don't have it. So the main thing is to spend money on research and development and everything for using AI agents for, let's say, defending your country and your people. That's the main thing. Because, as you know, there are a lot of countries who will use them for bad things and so on. Okay. However, I don't want to mainly focus on that because at the same time there's so many great things that will happen thanks to this, because again, we can create really personalized education, for example, which is now not happening. We can create that for almost every children on the world. In theory, it will take time. Or we will have a personalized doctor for everybody, thanks to these agents and so on, that will analyze exactly what you have, what is going on, and can predict different diseases and protect against them. So those are kind of really happy and nice things that I